This weekend at Kohl's, take an extra 15% off. Save on men's and women's denim. Get Under Armour shoes for the family, $59.99 and under. And pick up a Power XL air fryer, just $84.99. Plus, take an extra $10 off your back-to-school purchase of $50 or more. Plus, store drive-up. And get a little more for your wallet with Kohl's Cash. Shop Kohl's and Kohl's.com.
Select styles, 15% off with promo code Notebook ends August 16th. Under Armour offers and coupons do not apply. 10 off 50 with promo code BTS10 ends August 23rd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Let's go, go, with Go-Go Squeeze. We're going, growing, standing tall, climbing, laughing, hide and seeking, giving our all.
Our kids' days are filled with adventure, and Go-Go Squeeze is there for every run, jump, step of the way. Made from wholesome ingredients like 100% fruit and veggies, real yogurt, and no artificial anything. In Go Anywhere pouches, so our kids can keep going wherever their adventures take them. Go-Go Squeeze. You make the memories, we'll make the snacks. Find us in the applesauce aisle.
Let's go.
This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
I used to think time was my enemy. My future wasn't looking good. So worried about the things I couldn't see. I couldn't see the things I could. I was aging fearfully, worrying my life away, when all along I should have been thankful for every day. Finally made a friend of time. Now you could say that I'm aging gratefully. Aging gratefully.
Broadcasting from the rolling hills of the beautiful Tennessee Valley, from the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains, across this amazing nation and spanning the universe, you're listening to Aging Gratefully. I'm your host, gerontologist Holley Kelley, bringing you exceptional guests and novel information to ensure you age great, live full, and embrace each extraordinary day for the incredible gift it is. Welcome, everyone, to the Aging Gratefully Show. We broadcast every Friday on the CTR network at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Welcome, beautiful listeners around the world. Thank you for joining us today for another Power Hour of enlightenment. So happy you're with us today. Wherever you're tuning in from around the world, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. And thank you for spending this hour with us. So happy to have you do so. And today we're going to talk about your Aging Gratefully compass, navigating the path to your true north in the journey of growing older. So many people fear aging and growing older, but I am here to remind you there is nothing to fear and everything to get totally excited about. From when you were very young, aging was a thrilling part of your incredible adventure. Every new birthday brought with it additional, upgraded actually, offerings to your life. And yes, more responsibility, typically alongside it as well. But when 2 turned to 3, it was a celebratory occasion, marking your ever-developing milestones. When 5 turned to 6, you were probably entering early school age by then, embarking on your new big kid learning adventures of kindergarten. And when 9 turned to 10, it was epic to celebrate the long-awaited and ever-anticipated double digits. All celebrations each year as you reached another mark. 12 to 13, oh my goodness, this speaks for itself. Finally, the pinnacle achievement of youthfulness. In an instant, you were a teenager. And when 17 turned to 18, oh my goodness, that one was big. Adulthood by most standards. And then 21, when you finally got to celebrate that adulthood, if you so desired, with an elixir of your choosing. Literally any choice you wanted then. With every new age came new milestones, and with it, new benchmarks of privilege and responsibilities you also inherited along with your older self. And somehow along the way, past your 20s, something happened. I'd love to know exactly what it is. While we know growing older is a wonderful privilege, there seems to be a shift somewhere between our 30s and 40s, and we want to put the brakes on the celebrating. We want to turn time backwards. What was once an epic milestone feels more like a mile marker that we're hitting as we journey the trip of life. The problem is that those mile markers can feel like you're getting closer to the end of your journey instead of simply a wonderful journey. I believe society has imposed a lot of this upon our psyche. I believe, too, that we become more aware as we grow older. We actually stop and think about where we've been and assess it accordingly about midlife. Then we decide how much time do we have left to get where we want to go, do the things we want to do, be the us we aspire to be. We feel that the world may have more possibilities only for the youth, when in fact, that is only a self-limiting false thought that some of us have unfortunately adopted or allowed to seep into our cognitive perspectives. What if we stopped seeing each birthday as getting closer to the end of our journey, life itself closing in on us as we mark another mile? What if we decided instead to simply enjoy making each and every mile one worth marking, to literally be in the journey, each phase of it? What if we didn't think about where, what, or when that final mile marker was for us, but we simply left it to be an open-ended trail of unmapped exploring yet to be enjoyed? Why is it in life that the answers always seem to be in the back of the book, the end of a chapter? How do we get so much clarity as we age? How do we dispel the negative and embrace the positive to make the very best of every moment of every day? It seems the words a wise man once said are always from someone that had lived many years to become so wise. How can we ourselves experience clarity of wisdom throughout the miles, accumulating it along the journey, not just having it as our reservoir stockpile at the end? How do we gain such wisdom? I thought about what would older me say to younger me in all of my older sage wisdom. What words would echo backwards across the decades? What would I have wished to change? What advice would I extend to younger me to cradle my soul more gently across the moments in time? What clarity of insight would I have to share to ease my burdens carried over the years, to solidify more happiness in each and every day? And then I decided to write that very letter, a special message composed from older me to younger me. And as I put my fingers on the keyboard and conceptually envisioned 110-year-old me, lucidity took hold as I contemplatively beheld life in reverse. The erudition served word by word, it surged perceptiveness, no longer clouded from the inside, but out instead. The sagaciousness flowed ever so unimpeded like a downhill, sinuous, crystal clear spring. And when I was done, I read the letters, words and sentences that had naturally emerged, and I realized we all have the wisdom of elders inside us right now, if we just seek to uncover it. I became cognizant that the answers we pursue are simply revealed when we just ask the question. And that question is, once again, what would older you say to younger you? If you're 40, 50, 70, 90, I ask each of you to pose this inquiry to you, just as I did to me, and I'll share it with each of you now. It's called A Letter to My Younger Self, written by Holley Kelley. I wish to offer wisdom I've learned throughout the years. If only you had known this, it would have saved some tears. Yet what I have learned as I've journeyed through this life is there were lessons in the tears, the hardships, and the strife. Life is so very rich, beautiful in all its design. I wouldn't change a thing about living this life of mine. I've learned the value of simplicity, found peace in quiet time alone, and how leading with love is what makes a house a home. I found a soft voice is heard louder than a scream, and sitting close, saying nothing, is sometimes all others need. I've learned that every day held opportunity for growth, and being here to do so is what I've valued most. You see, time is all we have until we have no more. Life, it does not tell us what it has in store. But to age and grow older, love deeply embedded in our hearts, makes us grateful for each day until this earth we depart. Love is like a spring, an aquifer that pools happiness, swirling around in our heart, creating unbridled bliss. So younger me, I tell you, life will be happy and sometimes sad. It will test you, but you're tough enough, this strength you've always had. Don't let it get the best of you as the years go racing by. Live every single moment, and don't be afraid to cry. Those times you felt broken, unloved, and so confused, you rose like a phoenix, using hope as your muse. You can weather any storm, support others all around. Just look inside your heart. There, resilience and strength are found. Remember, when life tests you, there are lessons to be learned. You're stronger on the other side with grace you have earned. Take every moment. Allow time to stand still. Enjoy the dance of life, and love you back it will. Honor who you are. There's nothing you need to change. Life doesn't always make sense. Sometimes it's downright strange. Embrace the happy, sort the sad, laugh with the wind, my love, for this life that we have. Forgive quickly, don't get caught in the traps of regret. Do not worry your beautiful self about things that haven't happened yet. Anger and guilt, leave those behind too. Whatever you are doing, be sure you're choosing you. Do what makes you happy. Look back with grand big smiles. For every day you grow older, you mark another mile. A journey across the ages, through valleys and mountain tops, for they each are part of our story, and through love they never stop. I'll meet you at the end, my exquisite younger self. I might look a little different, not sure if you will tell. I'll be standing there so happy, with smile lines and hair now gray, waiting for you at the final marker with so much to say. I love how you've loved yourself and others too. It's made all the difference. So nice to finally see you. I'm proud of who you've become, how you've cherished every age. You came out of thunderstorms with love instead of rage. Let me hug you for the life you've mastered so perfectly. Let me look into your eyes and see you looking back at me. So very nice to finally meet you, younger self, and see only my reflection so magnificent. Love me. By the way, if you would like to read that poem, I posted it on my website. You can visit hollykelley.com. And when you're there, just click on Holley Kelley Writings and you'll find it. But I invite each of you out there listening to do what I have done, to think about beautiful, amazing, 110-year-old future you. I want you to think about all the wisdom you have now that you will carry forward into the many years to come. I want you to not wait for the end of the book for the answer key, for the end of the experience, for the lesson. I want you to envision you looking back on the glorious life of you, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, all the mixed up cloisonne of every varying bit of it. I want you to think of your challenges. I want you to think of your successes. And I want you to think about what mattered most when you look back on the virtual cognitive movie reel of your existence. What do you see? What have you learned? What do you want you to know right now? In this incredible exercise, we are able to bring the lessons of later into our life lived now. What an incredible opportunity to use the wisdom we actually already have as an aging gratefully compass moving forward. This is a gift to yourself that will generate harmony and happiness for all your days to come. So sit down and write that letter, ponder this question, and get a journal out and give yourself your very own answers. What would older you say to younger you? Write that letter. So we started the show out with me saying, I hope you're doing well, and I most certainly do. But I didn't actually ask you, how are you? Our day can be okay. Our job can be okay or not okay even. Things, events, circumstances can be judged, experienced, rated as good or bad. But what I want to get to the essence of is you, not the extenuating circumstances of you, because if you are centered and balanced and rooted, then the other things that come at you are literally just that. They are things. They may bug you, don't get me wrong. They may annoy you. They may frustrate you, but they won't derail you. They won't define you. Now, don't get me wrong. Certainly, I'm talking about normal frustrations and events that we know we can withstand when we're coming from a good and positive place. But we all know that there are other things in life that life brings, actually, that are cataclysmic to our soul. And please know, I know that they shake us to the very core. Things like grief and unexpected losses and terrible things that can come along with life. And they often do. But let me also remind you that to live a long life often means that we do endure such tragedies. And you will find sunshine again if you are experiencing such an event right now. Please know that. So let me ask the question to you again. How are you doing? You can answer. It's okay. Even if you're listening in a public place, people can judge while you're talking to yourself. It's okay. If you're in your car driving around, it's just me, you, and your car. You can answer how you're doing. So if you're doing great, I commend you. Yay, you. You get a gold star and a sticker for somehow navigating the challenges of our unprecedented current circumstances and facing those challenges, as my Gramps would have said, getting mad and glad in the same pair of pants. Go you. But if you answered, not so good, Holley, super subpar, by the way, that's the PG version for what rhymes with shucks, just take out the H. In other words, Holley, I'm doing horrible. It's okay. By okay, I mean, thank you for being honest. Thank you for being honest with me, but thank you for being honest with you, especially because we can't fix what we don't know or acknowledge is broken. On the other side of break, we're going to talk about things that can happen to us along our Aging Gratefully journey and how we can not only recognize it, but work mindfully to deal with this ever-occurring reality that challenges each of us. More on that, so don't go anywhere because this conversation will continue. Before commercial, though, I want to invite you always to share any of your thoughts you have about the show, about a guest, a topic idea, or even your Aging Gratefully journey with me. I'd love to see your amazing letters that you're going to write to your younger self that will be written all over the world. And you can reach me via my official host page. Visit www.ctrnetwork.com/Holley Kelley. That's with an EY on both. And there's many ways to contact me there. Of course, you can also listen to all the shows there. You can also visit my website at www.holleykelley.com, EY on both. And you can contact me that way. You can listen to all of the shows. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and my handle there is at Life's an Attitude. Or you can find me and follow me on Facebook at gerontologist Holley Kelley. I love listeners to, just write in, and it's amazing the letters and the messages that I get. Thank you for them. And you're amazing. And I really appreciate those of you that send me your thoughts and ideas and how the show has made an impact on your life. I'm happy to be part of your show, Aging Rebels. I'm grateful to be part of your Aging Gratefully journey. Together we make a difference beyond our own lives, but into the greater world. And I want to thank you out there for the listens and downloads. So appreciate how you take in our weekly messages and share them with your friends and family. Our global family grows more every single week. And oh my goodness, your reviews. If you could see me read them and see how much meaning they hold, like you would probably get a kick out of it. But to the beautiful souls who've recently submitted reviews, I have this for you. Your words are heartwarming, and your incredible soul shines greatly through each one of them. I don't know if you're listening, but based on what you wrote, I'm pretty sure that you are. To the kind gentleman out there who left a review in July, your words remind me and further reinforce why I do what I do. Please know that while I don't know you personally, I see you and I appreciate you. And rest assured, I will be certain to keep plenty of spinach stocked up in our Aging Gratefully cupboards just for you. And to the lovely lady who was formerly a guest and left a review in August, it is without question that you are a human compass for each of us to continue achieving our Aging Gratefully goals. Thank you for your kind words and the amazing way you shepherd others in life's greatest adventures. And to all the others, my sincere gratitude for your generosity of spirit. You amaze, you rock, and you role model. I'm your host, gerontologist Holley Kelley, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Donald Dansby from Merritt Island, Florida, and I just love listening to the Aging Gratefully show every Friday with the one and only gerontologist Holley Kelley.
With the new iPhone SE for less than $100 at Metro, you rule. It's the most affordable iPhone on the #1 brand in prepaid. So whether you're studying online or FaceTiming.
Hey, Mom.
Hi, dear. The iPhone SE has all you need. Switch to Metro and get the iPhone SE for $99.99 after rebate redemption and 6 months of service with AutoPay. Metro by T-Mobile. Rule your day. Limit 1 per account/household. Requires port and ID validation. Not valid for numbers currently on the T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Sunrises and sunsets. Final Affairs Forged with Flair, Finesse, and Functionality is a delightful book for every adult of any age and any stage. This multi-award-winning book, written by gerontologist Holley Kelley, is a soul-soothing journey and novel approach to completing your personal affairs and advanced care planning. Readers are calling it transformative, life-changing, and fun. Prepare lovingly, plan thoughtfully, live dynamically. Available on Amazon and most bookstores. Author autographed copies are available at sunrisesandsunsetsbook.com, where you can subscribe, register for a workshop, and more.
Big Mac, Chicken McNuggets, no, Big Mac and Quarter Pounder with cheese, or Filet-O-Fish. You'd be doing the same thing if you were at McDonald's, because you can choose not just one, but 2 of your favorites for just $6. Tasty Big Mac, crispy 10-piece Chicken McNuggets, juicy Quarter Pounder with cheese, or savory Filet-O-Fish. Enjoy 2 of your all-time favorites for just $6, if you can decide on the 2. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Hey folks, you've been listening to the Aging GreatFULLy show with our awesome host, gerontologist Holley Kelley. And I am Actor Chris Toomey, reminding you again that age is just a number and we don't have to be that number. A bad day, we've all had them. Recently I experienced one. I was in a car wreck early one morning. Luckily no one was hurt. But from there, the day spiraled into a complete mess and never truly got back on track. Despite what happened that day, I did manage to get to the gym and I had a good workout. The stress was gone and the therapy was much needed. When I walked out of the gym, I saw this beautiful sunset. A dark blue sky matted with a few clouds and the bright rays of the setting sun shining through. One could do nothing but stand there in awe of such beauty created by His grace. Seeing that made my day and eased my mind. I realized that day was a good day. I'm breathing and above ground, and yet again, I know I'm blessed and that I'm truly grateful for the gift of that day and today. I look forward to the gift of tomorrow, and I hope for all of us a good day. Be grateful for every day. Know that you are blessed with each day. It is a gift, and you get to further your life's journey and enjoy the now. With that said, let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Aging GreatFULLy, best listeners in the world. You really, really are. By the way, if you want to send in a show testimonial or a short audio clip of how you age gratefully, like you have heard so many people answer on this show, and you just really want to share that, send it my way. And you yourself could be featured at commercial of a future Aging GreatFULLy show like so many others have been. You can visit my host page, as mentioned previously, ctrnetwork.com/Holley Kelley, or visit holleykelley.com where you can do the same thing. And we love receiving those. And you probably know by now that we are on every player, I dare say, nearly imaginable. So catch the show on the go or wherever you enjoy listening: iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and so many of you use Amazon Alexa. It really surprises me. And if you do, though, you have to say, for those of you that want to charter this territory, you have to say it just like this: Alexa, play Aging GreatFULLy with Holley Kelley podcast. Or if you don't, I just have no idea what she'll give you, but it won't be my show. Amazing listeners tuning in from all over the world. You receive my incredibly heartfelt gratitude while our station broadcasts to over 170 countries. It amazes me to see where you're tuning in from, and my goodness, you're everywhere, but some areas even more so than others. So shout out to our Aging GreatFULLy family tuning in around the United States, but wow, surprising numbers of you from Washington, Virginia, Chicago, Illinois, Tampa, Florida, Huntington Beach, California, Irvine, California, Miami, Florida, Seattle, Washington, Pennsylvania, Alabama. I mean, it just amazes me to see those numbers. And huge Aging GreatFULLy hug to our listeners in Australia. So many actually from Perth, Australia, specifically, India, Canada, the United Kingdom, Japan, Greece, the Netherlands, Mexico, Republic of Korea. Thank you, glorious aging rebel souls. I appreciate every single one of you. And don't forget, our show's theme song is Aging GreatFULLy by singer-songwriter, talented musician, kind man who's been on the show before. You love that episode, by the way, that podcast with Jim Beloff. And so I invite you to go show Jim some Aging GreatFULLy love. And if Aging GreatFULLy, the song, is not yet on your playlist, make sure that you add it. You will love listening to that outside of the show as much as I do. So welcome back. It's just us today, you and me, and we're setting our compass towards aging gratefully. What fun we are having. So in answering that question, we talked about before break, there will be a broad spectrum of answers from all over the world. And I asked you prior to break, how are you doing? And knowing we have listeners, as we've shared, from everywhere, The answers will vary accordingly. Some will say that even in these less than ideal times, they have basked in the newfound discovery of life interrupted. They have taken notice because life's reset switch actually was hit for them, not on their own, but that they have come to know a new way of life that they may have never before discovered had it not been mandated by outside persuasion cast upon them. So it seems that some out there have navigated okay and others quite well. And others have undergone, unfortunately, extreme hardship. Some who also teeter-totter between both, good and bad, recognizing the benefits while at the same time enduring the realities of the challenges brought alongside it. You know, we can be both. It's interesting, the collage of circumstances that life can bring our way, that we are either doing good or bad, that we feel up or down, that things are in our favor or they're not, that life is amazing or life feels grim, or. I want to pose the question as to why it has to be either or. Why do we believe that we have to be one or the other? Why is the answer to, are you having a good day, actually a yes or no question? Why do we have to definitively side with one perspective lens as we analyze the state of lifeness? I believe wholeheartedly that it can be and often is and, not or. I believe that life is full of ands, and that we can find ourselves on both ends of the spectrum at the very same time, as we emotionally ping-pong back and forth between the realities of our emotional and situational outlooks. Do you believe that you can be happy and sad at the very same time? I've been there, so I believe we can. In fact, that's how I know we can. I've been happy, so incredibly euphorically happy about a life celebration, a pinnacle achievement and milestone, and I am full of elation about it. And at the same time, I have found myself facing tragedy in another area. I think of my youngest embarking off to college and all of her things arriving and all of the coordinating and shopping, the excitement, dorm assignments. It's a new era, a new chapter, a pinnacle event following all of her amazing achievements post-graduation. It's also during an unbelievably unprecedented time. I find myself simultaneously mixed with concern of her well-being, of being at college during a pandemic in a world of unknowns coming at us by the day. Life is a mixed bag. Recently, we had the joy of celebrating my mother's birthday with her. Oh, what a gift. And at nearly the same time, I found myself facing the harsh reality of losing an animal that was the horse of my lifetime and a huge part of our family's life for decades. The very horse I trusted with what I value most in life, the very children I celebrate so many pinnacle life milestones. I found myself sitting down in his stall with his tired and weary yet beautiful head resting in my lap, making the decision I had dreaded and never wanted to make, but knew as I sat there and lovingly rubbed him with tears streaming down my face that he needed me to. As his eyes conveyed, he, without a shadow of a doubt, had given in, and that he had done so ever valiantly. He made it very clear that he had no more to give. You see, life collides like waves crashing against the rocky shoreline, and sometimes it's more gentle, like a rolling tide softly kissing the beach shore. And sometimes you get both crashing waves and a rolling tide. No, that wasn't me slipping in a subliminal football message. Or was it? All at once, life shows. I can't define this as just happy. I can't define this as just sad. It's a mixed bag of both, each having the fullness and depth of the emotion they bring. pure, authentic happiness, heartbreaking, real sadness. To bring happy and sad together would be like the word sappy, but that's already a word and its meaning not appropriate anyway. Had doesn't work either, and it's already a word too. But what about hap sad? Hap sad captures them both. Hap sad honors the fact that they are both real and both occurring simultaneously. I think hap sad should be a word because how often in life are we happy and sad? Hap sad. A wedding at the same time we face an unexpected funeral. Hap sad for sure. Families coming together due to COVID-19 measures in new, meaningful, and rich ways, while others are facing tragedy and even loss because of the same reason. Definitely hap sad. Hap sad is a lot of what happens in life. A mother giving birth while someone else in the family receiving a dreaded diagnosis. Does this mean we pull from the happy side to acknowledge the sad? That we steal all the happy so that we can be in the sadness? No, I don't think that that is fair to either. To contaminate one with the other is not allowing each to be its own energy. But how can we be both? How can we have tears of joy and tears of suffering at the very same time for two different occurrences? Because we are human beings. That's why. And sometimes that's just the way things be. Being human means we feel, we experience, we empathize, sympathize, have tears, have cries, sob, hurt, suffer, heartbreak, encounter loss, and being human means we have the grandest capacity to experience joy, love, happiness, wonder, bliss, delight, pleasure, and so many other wonderful sentiments that take our emotions on what feels like a pedal to the metal joyride with no governor and no end. This is what we want. We welcome all the good emotions. We want the hap without the sad. Bring on the hap. But we know it's not possible to be in bliss all the time because shiitake mushrooms happen in life, right? And when sheep happen, we have to do our best we can with what we have, with where we are in life. And right now, with the sheep that's happening, we're in a pandemic, all of forced to do the best we can amidst the most unforeseen of circumstances. And wow, incredible applaud to you out there. I mean it, because 2020 has brought on quite the year. I mean, we didn't just have a pandemic. There's been all kinds of things happening this year. And it's easy to let these things little by little erode away at our sanctuary of self. And for some, it may already be in a delicate situation. You may be in a delicate place before all this happened. So depending on circumstances and what else is going on in life, this was the last thing that you wanted to deal with. As part of our Aging Gratefully journey, I believe it's important for us to mine our life and find our barriers that prevent us from living our best life now and replace them with greatness. That's why today we're setting our virtual compass towards aging gratefully as we set on this journey of living our best life now and discover the many things that we can bring along that journey to help us do that. Loyal listeners know by now, my goodness, am I a word enthusiast? But I created an acronym for Aging Gratefully, one that we will explore letter by letter to uncover the greatest route to set our compass, direct destination to aging gratefully our whole life through. And that's this week's show dedication, by the way. I didn't forget, while later in the show, it is to Aging Gratefully, this show, this phrase that we've coined, this way of living. For you out there listening, I remind you that I did put a spin on the traditional spelling of the word gratefully, Gratefully, and I spell it Great, capital Full, right in the middle with a little y. It was important for me to capture the essence of how I wanted us to age. Great and full in the spirit of gratitude. Oh, yes. And our Aging Gratefully alphabet soup for the psyche this week is a quote written by me. Quote, "Beauty is illuminated as we grow older through the clarifying process of discovering new realms of insight, knowing, and understanding, a rite of passage society commonly refers to as wisdom." So about aging. The word itself seems to have a negative connotation by many, and nothing could be further from the truth. By definition, aging is described as the process of growing old. But I say, with adventure packed in your Aging Gratefully luggage, you'll never grow old. And if you find yourself slipping into old viewpoints, we'll be here each week to remind you to never act your age. So let's dissect Aging Gratefully, one letter at a time. A in aging equals adventure, by the way, and that's something so important to incorporate into our Aging Gratefully life expeditions. It actually means an unusual and exciting, typically hazardous experience or activity. Daring and exciting activity calling for enterprise and enthusiasm. Now, I will tell you, spoiler alert, next week's show is chock full of adventure living tips, so be sure to tune into that one. But how interesting that adventure is laced with a bit of hazard to make it even more exciting. So how will you set your compass to include some hazardous adventure? We've had many guests on this show talk about their adventures, but I think of our very first Aging Gratefully episode when my book publisher, editor, dear friend, Cleone Reed came on the show. She talked about how working my book, Sunrises and Sunsets, Final Affairs Forged with Flair, Finesse, and Functionality. And I mean, we were in contact on a regular basis. She was editing furiously, and we were creating the greatest work that we possibly could for you out there in this book. But in doing that, she said it awakened and inspired her to be more in life. Now, when I say that, I just have to tell you that I don't know too many people that are in life or were even in life more than Cleone was at that time. But she had some fears, and she decided that after we published my book, that it was high time she faced them. So one of her fears was actually a fear of heights. So Cleone actually booked a trip to Costa Rica with her husband, my publisher, Bob Reed, and they invited some friends to come along. Now, Cleone didn't just book a sightseeing trip. That's not how Cleone is. She actually spent, if you knew her, you would love her. And everybody that heard her on the show couldn't help but have done so. But she spent a good portion of her life as a professional clown. And I mean, she really actually embodies so many beautiful attributes of clowning. She's written a book about it. So somebody that can bring so much joy to others, just even in that, to say she doesn't clown around like a professional clown. Oh my goodness. She does clown around, but she was serious when she decided to shake her life up. So she figured the best way to face her heights was to go ziplining. And so can you imagine to be scared of heights and to get on that ziplining? And that's exactly what she does. She books this trip, and she decides that she's no longer going to be limited or confined. So at 72 years old, she and her husband, Bob, who's a few years older than her, did that trip. And they didn't do just one zip line. They did 7. And it was just amazing. So I know she wanted to back out. She wondered sometimes what on earth she was thinking, because you have to book these trips in advance. And definitely this had its share of daring and hazardous that we learned really makes an adventure a true adventure. It just kind of kept her going. She kind of clung to that, and she got her mind right too, which I feel really helped her be successful. She looked at a lot of pictures of people ziplining. She prepared mentally, and I laughed so hard when I received an email from her, and she had photoshopped her face and body onto a ziplining photograph. But it was her way of making peace with her fears, of mentally preparing for what she was setting the stage to do. And she did all 7 zip lines. And I dare say she's been adventuring ever since. And I actually feel like she was doing it ahead of time. So she's like Adventure Zone on steroids. And that's who she is, a true lover of life, of living and aging gratefully, just extraordinary. So I remind you, I am continually inspired by each of you out there. So in 2 weeks, we actually have a show coming up, and I share a small part of my a trip that we took as a family when I was young, heading to Alaska. But when I was creating the show and putting my thoughts together, I realized in my heart of hearts, I really just yearned and longed to make the trip back there again, kind of retrace our steps, and that I wanted my entire family to be able to make this trip. So I called my brother and I told him, hey, I just was getting ready for this show, and it just like, wow, I feel like we should go redo this trip that was such a big part of our childhood. So I asked him how he felt, and he was 200% in. And then I called my mom, and she's like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. When can we go? And just that few minutes, we definitely put adventure forward on our Aging Gratefully roadmap, and we're gearing up to make that trip 2021. Let's hope that 2021 is not crazier than 2020 has been for us. But we're going to do that, and we can't do it now because the climate in Alaska is heading into a climate we don't want to be part of. It's a little too cold for us. So what I'm asking is, what is in your heart of hearts aspirations? What fears do you want to adventurously conquer, like our beautiful friend Cleone did with her zip lining? So A equals adventure, and I want you to seek out ways you can bring some into your life. The G in aging stands for gratitude, and this is such a big one. There are so many ways we can give and receive gratitude, but what I'm asking of my incredible aging rebels far and wide around the world is that you actually live gratitude. Living gratitude is a way of life. It's not a deed or an act, but instead a continual way of being. So there's so many ways to do this, but it starts with the pledge to simply begin. And if you're beginning this gratitude lifestyle, you would simply commence to find all the things you already have that you're grateful for, things like that we often take for granted. Identify those things and be grateful for them. You can do what many guests on this show have talked about doing and begin a gratitude journal. When you begin living in gratitude, gratitudinal living becomes your normal way of being, and you experience a shift in perspectives. In what I call also the boomerang effect that I talk about a lot, all that you are grateful for seems to snowball and even be returned to you. So on to I in aging, and it is for inspired, which means of extraordinary quality, as if arising from some external creative impulse of a person also exhibiting a creative impulse in the activity specified. So you out there, what inspires you? How are you inspired? How do you inspire others? What types of inspiration moves you? To live inspired is a beautiful thing, but I also know along life's path, it's kind of easy to lose your inspiration somewhere along the way. I call it the school of hard knocks. Is kind of doesn't always it doesn't kind of align up with how we envision life to be. And many people find themselves challenged to identify what actually is able to spark their creative impulse. The best advice I have for you is to look back. We're talking about that letter to our younger selves, once again to where you once were. What once upon a time inspired you greatly? For most of the time, most of us are not much different. Maybe a little more experience, a little more adventure, a little bit more life lived, but we're not that much different from the person that we've always been. And those inspirations of your youth, they are still there waiting to be accessed and treasured. The goal is to have things in your life that keep you inspired. Now, to be clear, inspiration is something you feel from the very core of your being, and motivation is what you use to bring it to reality. So many people confuse purpose with inspiration, but purpose, actually, in my opinion, is why to do the what. As if you enjoy crocheting and that is something that really inspires you, but you crochet beautiful little, let's say, warmth beanie hats for newborn babies for your local hospital. Then the creating and giving of the beanies is your purpose for your inspiration. At the end of the day, If you can use what inspires you towards a special purpose and be motivated to do so, this is the full circle culmination of living inspired. Now, in aging is for nurture. Care for and encourage the growth and development of is what it means. The process of caring for and encouraging the growth and development of someone or something. So nurturing, this is important in life. We receive something very special in return when we do this. Nurturing is certainly, I would call it, an act of love, compassion, benevolence. So we can nurture just about anything. More often people nurture animals, plants, garden, a home. But it's important also to note that we must also nurture ourselves. Nurturing is loving kindness extended, in my opinion. And when we do this, it seems emotional deposits are also made into our being accounts that fill us up with joy and meaning. It's interesting because many studies were done about those who recently found themselves isolated due to our global pandemic. And there was an epidemic and is an epidemic of loneliness in the world. And it's the individuals who had pets and other family members or social infrastructures or friends around that were able to better deal with the seclusion. But namely, those who had pets found a therapeutic gain through the nurturing and were better able to manage such difficult times. So my advice, nurture away, but don't forget that you too deserve some of that caring attention because we can't give away what we don't have. So it's important to make nurturing you a priority too. Now, G in aging is forgive, Give, giving of yourself. It's not difficult to do this, and what a beautiful way to be more in life. Giving is a great thing to do for others, but what is so incredibly ironic is, again, the boomerang effect is in play, and when you give, it returns back to you with incredible bounty. So giving is simple and often an extension of kindness. One example that I so love, I recall that a paramedic driver was actually called to transfer a lady who had been battling cancer to hospice. So she was finally admitted to hospice. So he showed up at her home early in the morning. He talked to her along the route as he recognized this was a trip nobody ever wants to go on. Her spirits were good, probably putting up a front to him to thwart off any pity or awkwardness. The conversation, it flowed freely in heartfelt ease. She talked about her life and the journey that got her to this day. And she mentioned that the thing she was going to miss the most was morning sunrises, something that she so enjoyed. And with that, a few miles up the road, the driver pulled off. She asked if everything was okay, and he said, "Yes, it's great." He opened the back of the vehicle and he pulled out a folding chair, and he walked back to the vehicle and said, "Let's watch today's sunrise together." And they did. You see, giving can be free, but priceless. Giving to me is currency of the soul. So giving is an incredible part of aging gratefully that makes life rich. So that's aging. Adventure, gratitude, inspired, nurture, and give. On to gratefully. And gratefully is grace, redesign, empathy, action, truth, faith, unlimited, live, love, you. G in gratefully is for grace. Simply put, it's the context, for it is to be courteous, to offer goodwill, but it's also to be gracious. But I want us to live in grace, to truly achieve aging gratefully. This is the route I want us to take. I found an acronym for grace that I really liked at smartbrief.com. And they say G in grace is for generosity, the will to do something more for others. R is for respect, the dignity of life and work. A is for action, the mechanism for change. C is compassion, the concern for others. E is energy, the spirit that catalyzes us. So I love that. And I want everybody to age gratefully by incorporating great grace into their lives. R is for redesign, and it means to design something again or in a different way. Oh boy. So life forces us to do this sometimes, but there are often times we're not very good students. All of us, we have our moments. And I believe, much like modernizing our homes, we need to be sure that we're keeping ourselves in our most innovative state of lifeness. And sometimes things become habits that don't serve us. Sometimes a life tsunami puts us in a state of chaos. We're not in our greatest space. So, with that, we must be willing to recognize when it is time and also be willing to redesign as life puts us at such intersections and crossroads. Redesigning is important, and it keeps our compass pointed towards our true north. Now, E is for empathy, and it means the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. And our paramedic was obviously experiencing this with certainty in the story I just shared. But empathy is also, in my opinion, the ability to move ourselves out of the way. And it allows us to put ourselves in the other person's point of view, situation, or perspective. Empathy is that little tugging of the heart when you feel. When you feel is definitely good. So empathy is good. A is for action, and it means the fact or process of doing something, typically to achieve an aim. Our actions here are to inspire and instill practices for aging gratefully. That's what we do each week. And you out there definitely share that action plan without a doubt. But action can be important because it's how we improve. Action itself is the very element we are exercising. When I say often that we are works in progress, headed in the right direction, that is action. Working, progress, continuing on that path. If there's an area of your life you want to improve, action will get you the results you desire. And inaction will keep you where you are. So action is a truly important way we achieve aging gratefully. Now, T in gratefully is for truth. What is your truth? Now, that's an interesting question about truth, is because it is defined as the quality or state of being true, but also as a fact or belief that is accepted as true. Let me make no mistake about it. The last one can be a total spoiler of our compass destination of aging gratefully, because sometimes we accept the wrong things as truth. So I will take this opportunity to remind each of us to check ourselves at the door for the lies we tell ourselves or erroneous beliefs we allow in. A popular one is definitely that growing older means everything is downhill. Not true. So in living your truth, be sure that you are fact-checking the beliefs that could be holding you back from aging gratefully and living your best life now. Now, the F in gratefully is for faith. Faith means so many things. What a huge word with a world of possibilities and definitions. But I mean faith in the context of several meanings, but one, to keep the faith, however that relates to you. Faith also means complete trust or confidence in someone or something. And I definitely want each listener to have absolute faith in themselves and the destination they wish to achieve, the kind of life they aspire, and their absolute ability to achieve it. Now, let me remind you that faith is intimately connected to hope. But I am using faith here because one cannot even have hope without first having faith. So I want every listener to keep their faith in all the aspirations and ideals they hold. You and gratefully is for unlimited. It means not limited or restricted in terms of number, quantity, and extent. And here's what I have to say on this. So many people feel that aging is full of limitations. And I want you to know, believe, and hold sacred is that your aging journey is unlimited, without boundaries. Regardless of circumstances, each of you in our unique situations still absolutely have unlimited ways you can achieve your aging gratefully goals. L in gratefully is for live. It simply means to remain alive. But let me be crystal clear here. I've said it before, but some things are definitely worth repeating. There's being alive and there's living. Being alive can happen for us, like our hearts beating, our blood, like breathing, the magnificent orchestration of our organs, autopiloting in their dance of effortless perfection, ideally. But living, that is you and I making a choice, choosing to be key and essential stakeholders in the designing of a life well lived. Living is on us. We decide what that looks like, but rest assured, aging rebels are in the business of living. Now, the other L in gratefully is for love. Wow, what a word. So they say love makes the world go round. Its definition is actually an intense feeling of deep affection. Trust me when I tell you that if you are practicing all of these attributes in our Aging Gratefully acronym, you will be so full of love, you won't know what to do. Love is all around, and most of all, love is you. Speaking of you, the Y in gratefully is actually for you. Every single one of you out there, you are aging gratefully. You are the very essence of all that aging gratefully embodies. And because of that, the answers are in you. If you find yourself a little off path, remember, wise elder you is still you. If life throws you a curveball, you are capable to catch it and return to sender. If you get off in the woods while navigating your compass towards aging gratefully, you have all the tools to look at that compass and get back on the path in the full light of living your best life now. Because you are magnificently, resourcefully, innovatively, magically, brilliantly, remarkably, incredibly, genuinely, amazingly, unquestionably, completely, undeniably, astonishingly, uniquely, and conceivably fabulously extraordinary. May each of you keep your compass set towards aging gratefully, your true north. Adventures, gratitude, inspired, nurture, give. Grace, design, empathy, action, truth, faith, unlimited, live, love, you. You've been listening to Aging Gratefully, and I'm your host, gerontologist Holley Kelley. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed our message, I invite you to subscribe and share it with others. May you remember to never act your age, and that age is just a number. And may you enjoy and embrace the coming week in the spirit of gratitude. Until we meet again, here's to living your best life now.
I used to think time was my enemy. My future wasn't looking good. So worried about the things I couldn't see. I couldn't see the things I could. I was aging fearfully, worrying my life away, when all along I should have been thankful for every day. Finally made a friend of time. Now you could say that I'm aging gratefully. Aging gratefully.
Summer's not here long, so seize the sizzle with Walmart. Find all your faves such as Oscar Mayer hot dogs, Kraft singles, and Heinz ketchup. This time of year is all about living easy and sizzling good food. Whether you're cooking for two or for a house full, grilling outside makes mealtime simple, delicious, and fun. When the coals are hot, be grill ready with all the best ingredients from Walmart.
Big Mac, Chicken McNuggets, no, Big Mac and Quarter Pounder with cheese, or Filet-O-Fish. You'd be doing the same thing if you were at McDonald's, because you can choose not just one, but two of your favorites for just $6. Tasty Big Mac, crispy 10-piece Chicken McNuggets, juicy Quarter Pounder with cheese, or savory Filet-O-Fish. Enjoy two of your all-time favorites for just $6, if you can decide on the two. Prices and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal, single item at regular price.